we're joined by Diego Barraza.
Hi, Arthur.
Yeah, nice to meet you. So you're a cinematographer based in Sussex?
Yes, I'm a filmmaker and cinematographer, producer, director, a bit of everything as you have to do these days.
Yeah. And I understand you've got your own production company.
I do. I have been running my own production company, SaGuarda Studios, now for, 7 years? Mm-hmm. And we're based here in Sussex, and we do all sort of creative filmmaker, from corporate short films to documentary to promotional to educational content. So that's our main work.
So what got you into filmmaking?
Well, it's one of those things that, like everybody else, you grow up watching films and you get excited by stories and the technology and the creative possibilities of making images and telling stories and using the technology and your creativity to put things together. So since I have a recollection, that's been my pursuit.
Mm-hmm. You said you've done all sorts of things, such as short films, documentaries, done some music videos, right?
Yes, we've done music promotionals, live events, theater. So I think that's one of the exciting bits about filmmaking, and it can combine a lot of different interests together. There's always things that pull you, closer to your heart, that you think, this is really interesting. This is something that excites me, and you kind of gravitate to some certain interest, and you can find your niche there. For me, it was camera work. I loved photography from the beginning. It's something that really kind of, was a passion of mine, capturing images. And from there, I kind of grew the interest around photography into other elements of filmmaking that kind of informed my journey. For other people, it might be sound, it might be writing, it might be cloth design, and I think filmmaker is great in that it can incorporate all those kind of passions and interest, and there find your niche in there.
Yeah, you can definitely notice that in some of your work with the more very scenic look of some of the things you've done, which we'll be seeing in a minute. But you can definitely tell there is a artistic view to all of the shots and scenes you've done. It did feel like a moving photo, which I thought was really good.
Thank you. That's it's always nice actually when you kind of because filmmaking is it's a tough profession, in a sense where it's very competitive. You have to put in a lot of work. Sometimes, like any artistic endeavor, it has to drive you from the inside. Because sometimes you won't get those things that kind of help you along the way. So you kind of really have to push your way into what your vision, or what you want to say, what you want to tell, to make it come through. You kind of put all that work, and then somebody somewhere kind of sees that work, and maybe it touches them, it inspires them, and that's it. That's exciting as a filmmaking.
Speaking of having and building a vision, how did you begin making films? Did you go to university or just?
Well, I have to say that the first project was a home project that I did. My father used to do 8mm film, which was kind of the consumer filmmaking material that was available at the time. And when my father passed away, he left a bunch of reels from 8mm film, which normally they're like 3 minutes long. So there was this kind of a treasure trove that nobody had seen in a lot of years, and I was just fascinated by those kind of time slices that were captured there. That's also one of the magic elements of filmmaker, that in a way you're capturing time. That possibility of working with time as a medium by capturing it's very interesting. So in that occasion, I found those reels, and I started going through them, and I put together a little edit and passed them to video, because at that time you couldn't get any film projectors. That was already past. When I was growing up, it was all about video technology, VHS at that time. Or Vitacam, and it was passing that material from film medium to tapes. And I started to work with that material that was, mostly like family reels, and constructed a little kind of film with that material in tape, and then just showed it to my family. And I think from there I was hooked with it. But then I did study. I did went to media college, and that was important for me. I think that's it wasn't as developed as it is now, media studies. So you guys have a great advantage here. You have this amazing college, with all these resources.
Yeah.
That it's a great privilege, and don't take it for granted.
Yeah, we're not. Just get to use these nice big cameras every day. It's great.
Absolutely. It's amazing technology. You can do a lot with it. So don't hold yourselves back, and try to use it. Organize yourselves. I think. One of the things that I enjoy more about filmmaking is the camaraderie, working with other people, collaborating, sharing your ideas too. Sometimes it can be a bit of a push-pull process, like in any group dynamics. There's always that. There's egos. There's certain maybe collisions of personality that can come. And I think when you're growing up, because egos are stronger, so you kind of find a way how to confront your ego issues so that you can work with other people and say, this is a kind of a team sport, and the purpose is to follow an idea, a project, and to try to bring that forth. So that's, I think it's important, and
all about compromise and everything.
Yes, seeing which battles are good to take on.
Yeah, exactly.
With regards to the production company, if you want to pass, I got some examples of some of the works that we have done with recently.
The fact that we story things, that we create narratives, that's what binds us all together. We're narrational beings. We're beings who tell stories to each other about ourselves, about others, about the world.
Hello, sexy.
Uptown girls we dream.
Because you knew, even then.
I think Brian's having an affair.
Are you happy?
Very happy, love. How long is that flight?
2 hours. First class.
Who is it?
Solo sé que el rumor de tus tangos, Malena, te siento más buena que yo.
I am a tiger.
I am a lion, and I am a lion. I am.
So the acorns actually, as soon as they drop to the ground, they start to grow.
But there's nothing more hopeful than planting seeds. So I'm gonna think of you, little acorn, growing strong. I'll see you in the spring. You'll be strong and full of life, ready to go.
I will sing.
Being a mama is tough. 1 in 10 of us will face postnatal depression.
Singing helps us bond with our babies, connect with other mums, and feel more confident and self-assured. Singing releases endorphins, which delivers pain relief and improve mood, and it even reduces stress hormone levels.
It's the ultimate endurance challenge. It's physical, it's psychological, it's just a huge adventure as well. I remember as a kid standing and looking out to sea and kind of wondering what was out there, and to have that opportunity now to actually physically do that, to just row off into the unknown, despite all the fears and the apprehension, that's the overriding emotion. It is a proper adventure.
Formed from soil, wood, water, time. It's also high-octane international elitism.
Big
Thank you. Thank you.
Wow, it just sounds really good.
Well, it's just a bit of a variety of kind of the scope and the breadth of the work, because one thing is the kind of the artistic kind of journey as a filmmaker, and then the other one's kind of the commercial output to that, kind of how you challenge that and how you kind of orient that. So with a production company, you know, a lot of the work can be more kind of commercially oriented, or you kind of using filmmaking as a tool of story to help people, you know, promote their services or their projects or their causes too. So
just the scope of that was amazing, because I'd only really seen a few of the things. I've seen the shorter films of like the letter and the trailer for The Cross, but I didn't. To be honest, I didn't see many of the documentaries. Like I didn't know there was all the solo Atlantic crossing and the gardening stuff.
Yes.
So I'm just good.
Well, thank you. It's it can be a bit messing your mind up sometimes, because you're kind of working in very, very different projects at the same time. I think that's very important to note, you know, for young people like you guys that starting out in media careers, is that a lot of the work is project-based. So one day you're working in a project about gardening, and the other one is something to do with a theater production. So it can be very diverse, and you have to kind of always be present with each project to kind of give attention to where it's at, you know, what are the needs of that project, and how can you help bring those needs through.
Yeah, with such a variety, that's been like. Were there any projects where you found that you had found particularly challenging out of those?
Sometimes, as a production company, people come to you and they don't know exactly what they're looking for.
Right.
So it is always a conversation and a building a relationship to understand where that person or that project is coming from, to see where you can help them and have those conversations. So I think sometimes what I find challenging is that you can have prolonged conversations about projects that never end up happening. And in filmmaker, and especially like longer form projects like feature films or documentary or short films, sometimes you're building the project, or with commercial clients, you're building the project, but you're trying to find if it's really needed to be done too, or if there is a space for it to happen. So that can be a challenge, because you can put a lot of work and effort into finding out the path for that particular film or story, and then at some point you find out there is no space for it at the moment. Maybe in a later stage it can happen, or there is a need for it, but it can be a bit frustrating, you know, because. But the interesting is, or I think a good advice would be, if you're working with media projects, is to have different projects at different, working at different velocities or at different stages, because some things are going to catch a fire a bit quicker, and be more happening at the moment, and other things will take a longer time to distill to fruition.
And that's really interesting, though, because that's something we haven't. While we're at college, we learn how to use the cameras and how to make actual productions. But the whole idea of the production company is quite new. So, what is really the relationship between the customer and the actual company making their product?
It is. You have to understand the needs of the client that comes in. I think that's very important because. We creative people, and you'll find this yourself, is that we're full of ideas, and we want to make the next big film, and that great shot, and that very creative film project. But sometimes people don't need that for their product or service. You have to find what their needs are. So I think empathy is a big element of it. Having a sensibility to tune in to the needs and or the problems that this client might have that you might be able to solve, and be very sincere and say, the problem that you have, I'm not going to be solving with a film for you, or saying, no, actually, I can help you by telling the story in this way and pitching your idea or presenting a solution to a problem that your client might need. So it's always about having long conversations, doing this that we're doing here, getting to know people, where they're coming from, what they want to achieve, or what are the objectives, who they want to talk to, who's this program for, I would say, who do I want to talk to? Is it students? Is it film people? Is it media people that are interested in media who want to learn, or prospective students? So it's very important to have empathy in this, because it's always we can be a bit pig-headed, thinking about our stories, our issues, our things that we want to tell, and that's kind of the artist's way. And when you have a commercial output as a production company, you have to turn it around, think what are the needs of the product or service or client or person that is going to see that.
Thank you very much, Diego, for that. And I think we've now got some questions from the audience.
I was wondering if you have any upcoming projects coming up, or if you're thinking of working on anything anytime soon.
Yes, as I say, being a film producer or having a production company is always having different projects at different stages of production. At the moment, or my system is, I work on the little projects that are day-to-day, little promotional material. That's kind of the bread and butter. And the longer-term projects, at the moment, I'm working with a writer in Brighton for a long-form feature film project of a story based in Brighton. So we were in conversations last week, and we optioned a story. So that's in the pipeline. That's very recent. I'm also working on a project for Arts Council, lottery-funded project from a composer called Richard Norris from the area around Cambridge. And he's putting together a project called Sensoria, which is a musical composition that goes through the different senses as a concert and performance show. And I'll be in charge of creating the backdrops that were going to be projected for the show. It's going to tour around England. I'm also working on a documentary project that about children and dance that we've been putting together as a kind of series too. So that's also taking place. So that's kind of the main, the bigger projects. And then this year and past year, we were named the best kind of boutique production company in Sussex, which was great. And so we won some awards. We've put out content, in different of different types and different lengths. It's always busy in a sense where there's a lot of projects being discussed. I'm a bit, I get frustrated because, I came with an attitude of doing things, and sometimes a lot of the bigger projects take a long time. So you have to do a lot of conversations. You got to sit with meetings, talk with people, find the monies for the project, champion them, promote them, and when you actually want to be behind the camera, on a set and putting up lights or in location. So that's it's not that much of the time that you get to spend because a lot of for this project is building them up. So it kind of it's a funny dynamic.
So I also have a question. What, in your opinion, what makes a successful project?
I'm a bit of a softie, I have to say. So I am driven by emotion, and I think if a story touches people's heart and people's mind, it forms then a part of you. So for me, that's a successful film. Even if it's like a small promotion or a documentary or a feature-length fiction, I think it has to touch your heart and your mind and inspire you.
What advice do you have for upcoming filmmakers?
Follow your passion, but be ready. Be ready for those moments that the opportunities happen. Be open to meeting new people. Getting together with your friends that have same interest. If you like to make films, hang out together with other people that like to make films, because that's where it's going to happen with other people. You can do a lot of things, on your own, a bit, that kind of YouTube content creation on your own room. But I think the joy of it is in working with other people all the time, definitely. So my advice is, find your tribe, your filmmaker tribe. And if you like, photography, or you like costume design, or you like the writing bit, there's people that are kind of dedicated to that or have that same interest. So talk to them, meet them, and, find that collaboration that that's gonna help you move forward with your ideas and your work.
Thank you.
Thank you Diego for joining us today. And this has been An Audience With. Thank you for watching.